Hello to our audience. This is Sheila Ross, your host of Smooth Jazz News and Views. We appreciate you tuning in and listening to the show. This is our very first episode, and we have some surprises for you. We want you to enjoy the show and check in with us. I'm going to give you my website address and ways to get in touch with us. If you really like the show, we really would like your feedback and your comments. So Smooth Jazz News and Views with Sheila Ross is brand spanking new today. Smooth Jazz News and Views is located in Atlanta, Georgia, founded to help smooth jazz lovers and concert attendees capture a more in-depth scope of the artist, thereby enhancing the concert experience and musical knowledge of the artist. We share timely news of the smooth jazz artists, thoughtful views of show performances, and CD review insights, all via podcast episodes. Whether you plan to travel to hear your favorite artist or attend a local venue here in Atlanta, our goal is to educate you and grow your knowledge of the artists and their music. Join us monthly to get the news and views, timely, thoughtful, and trustworthy. And just a little bit more about myself and my background. I've been a smooth jazz lover since the early 2000s. I support smooth jazz genre and appreciate the sound and recognize the diligence artists and musicians place into their craft. As an educator, I enjoy working with youth as an English teacher of 11 years and see daily the strong embrace students have for music as well. For this reason, I expose them further to the artistry. Some students share sincere interest in musical careers, so we dive deeper into the life and times of both current and late artists. Like literature, music is personal and shared from the human condition, so there is much to acquire. And a little bit more about the work that I have done with smooth jazz. I first want to thank Mr. Art Jackson of smoothjazzmagazine.com because he helped me to see that I already had a passion for smooth jazz, but he helped me to develop through the online magazine. Since about 2016, 2017, my ever-growing treasure chest of writing includes West Coast guitarist Neil's, saxophonist Marion Meadows, saxophonist Jasmine Gent, West Coast violinist Josh Vietti, West Coast saxophonist Dave Cause, trumpeter Willie Bradley, guitarist Raul Midden, guitarist L. Bear, Dada Dodden, saxophonist Najee, West Coast band DW3, West Coast guitarist Chris Standring, saxophonist Will Donato, saxophonist Jeanette Harris, and many more. So I am very proud to have been able to help these artists over the years. I have done a combination of interviews, show reviews, show performances, and CD reviews. I have a surprise for you today. We have a few surprises for you today. Thank you for listening to a little bit about me, the company, my background, and my passion for jazz. And I do want to make this one disclaimer tonight. I'm a school teacher, so if you hear me say any phrases that you would normally hear in the classroom, do not take it personally, because I'm around students every day, and I love my students dearly. And I also want to say that next to my family members, my students come first, because that's my heart. If it wasn't for my students, I wouldn't really need to be doing this in the first place. So here we go. Today, we have a special guest in the studio, and I'm so excited. I've been excited for about 3 months. And so I'm trying to keep myself calm here. But I would like to tell you a little bit about this person, and then we're going to begin our conversation. In the studio, I have a national Billboard charting recording artist, saxophonist, and composer, Mr. Dee Lucas. Mr. Lucas has been noted as the most consistent and hardest working indie artist in the entire music industry, while steadily growing his brand and fan base, beginning with Remembrance in 2004. It has been a steady showcase of unique stylings with Something to Ride in 2007, Standing Room Only 2010, Rebirth of the Smooth 2012, The Smooth Factor 2014, Going Deeper 2016, The Sweet Spot 2017, Going Left 2018. The critically acclaimed The Time Is Now, 2020. The Outstanding Offering of No Boundaries came out in last year, 2023. Now, his much anticipated upcoming release with the title Simply 20. That's going to be the topic of our conversation tonight. His new album release this September 20th, which celebrates his 20 years as solo recording artist. This captivating artist is a 3-time Billboard smooth jazz artist with 4 #1 hits across various smooth jazz artists. And he is our Atlanta's own. So we really do appreciate his craft and his professionalism. He has a unique story to tell us this evening, and we really do appreciate his time. But this time, I would like to welcome to the studio Mr. Dee Lucas. Yes.
Basically, it's just going to be a celebration of what I've accomplished over the last 20 years with this release here.
And we can see some of it here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is definitely quite something to be proud of, this catalog that you have.
Right.
So let's cut to the chase. Let's go straight to this album.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about this album.
Okay.
Tell me all about the inspiration for the tracks themselves, the title of the tracks. Where did all this come from? And is there some meaning here? Are there any common topics or themes, or what are we saying to our audience with this album?
Well, basically, the songs compiled together, it's basically a reflection of my past, the present, and some of the things that I want to move forward in the future musically. So you will hear elements from different songs on the album on some of the things that I experienced musically when I first started. Of course, the music has changed over the years from a production standpoint, sonically. So I still try to reach back on some of the songs on this album here and try to put some of those elements on the records. Well, same thing with the present. Well, what you're hearing now with a lot of styles, a lot of different nuances. Same thing with the records that you're hearing today on radio. I wanted to incorporate some of the things that you're hearing now. And basically, in the future, I have songs on the album that's going to push the envelope a little further. So it's a combination of a lot of different elements.
So let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's think about we can talk about title tracks, right? Even though the CD is not released, correct?
Right.
Let's talk about some of these titles, and how did you come up with some of these titles that to me seem to have some things in common?
Absolutely. Well, of course, there's 8 tracks to the album. The very first one is called Soul Searching. Soul Searching was basically a gut check for me to think about where I am now, what I've done in the past, and do I want to move forward with the music? So, and after 20 years, you have to look at and take inventory within yourself on where are you. So, and that's where Soul Searching comes in. Am I at a point where have I tapped out, or do I still have more to give to my listeners? So that's what this song was really about. It's about soul searching. It's intestinal fortitude, looking from within, moving forward. Let's see. number 2 is basically the title itself, 20.
Mm-hmm.
That basically is the celebratory sound.
That's the celebratory track. Right.
That's the celebratory track. It was produced by Michael Bronin. Fantastic producer. But basically, I want to pull some elements out of that song to, hey, more out of optimism, upbeat, nothing dark, just more of celebration as an artist. Number 3, Tighten Up. That basically is a song of encouragement.
Okay.
Song of encouragement for all, not just me. Now, what I try to do with records, I try to look from within, but I also, hopefully, the listeners can interpret it the same and see what do they have. Is there a relation there in what I'm trying to say? Because we all can tighten up, do things within ourselves to improve, our lifestyle. Okay. And that's where that comes from. So hopefully that,
because you
can relate to what I'm saying.
With anything that we do in life, we need to tighten up first.
We have to tighten up. And you can see it everywhere you go. There are things that we can do better.
Exactly. Okay, I get it.
We can do better.
Okay, I get it. Okay, that works for me. And the next one?
The next one is a weak spot. Oh, boy. That one's about a relationship.
It is.
It's about a relationship.
It really is.
Just when you think you had everything together, there's always that one person that will break you down into humility. That's what weak spot is about. And I think everyone has experienced that before.
Oh, we all have.
So,
unfortunately.
So I think we can all relate to that. And Cuban Cigar Nights.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
That is produced by my good buddy, Gino Rosario. And he's from Curacao. And, the thing is now, cigars. I like a good cigar. Some people do, some people don't. But it's just more of a vibe thing.
So do you think that kind of fits with him? I tell my students all the time that always read the author's bio, because so much of what we read of their literature, they themselves are a part of it. So do you think with him, Rosario, it's Rosaria, do you think that he brought in that flavor? That was his kind of like his idea.
That's exactly why I went to him, is because I wanted a Latin-based song.
Okay, and it definitely is.
Right, and by, since he's from Curacao, that's the culture. That's the culture. And again, back to the cigar thing, that's kind of a vibe thing where, club, having a great time, more of a social thing, more of a mixer type of environment. But I definitely wanted to incorporate world sounds. And the world sounds coming from Curacao, the Latin bass, rhythms. And he delivered.
Oh, yeah.
He delivered.
I have to tell our audience that I cheated a little bit and I've listened to the whole album already.
Right.
So, yeah, I was excited just the titles before I even listened were so interesting.
Right.
So let's see.
And again, I think everyone can relate. Whether you smoke a cigar or not, you are around people that like to be social, that likes to socialize with cigars. So I think, especially, in Atlanta, that's the thing,
we do have those cigar bars.
It's a lot of cigar bars. So that's a vibe. So that's the thing that whether you smoke or not, that's something that you can relate to because it's more of a social gathering. So that's what it comes about.
Okay.
And what's next? So we had Cuban Cigar Nights, and then we have Feel the Love. Feel the Love kind of explains itself.
It does.
It kind of self-explanatory, where everyone wants to be appreciated, and basically that's what it is. Cut and dry. Everyone wants to feel appreciated. Everyone wants to be a part of something.
Okay.
what's next? So Good to See You Again.
Mm-hmm.
That's more about family.
Okay.
That's a more upbeat song. And the story behind that's produced by Ron Motone.
Mm-hmm.
Ron Motone is the saxophonist for Confunction.
Oh, okay.
So we reached out about 5 years ago. I sat on that song about 7 years ago, 7 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm finally putting it out now. But that song is more of an upbeat, feel-good song. And when I think about family, I think about feel-good.
Mm-hmm.
I think about family reunions. I think about gatherings. So that's where that was birthed.
That is so good because family, I tell my students all the time,
Mm-hmm.
I said, listen, when y'all go to college, you had better stay like this, real tight with your family because that's your world. That's your universe.
Absolutely.
And you, even if you have some conflict, still figure out a way to get it back tight again.
Right.
Because your family is very important.
Right. And from a production standpoint, back to what I was saying in terms of elements from the past,
Mm-hmm.
if you listen to it, it's more of a nostalgic type of song.
Okay.
So it's not of a fresh song as of today.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back.
Right.
It takes it back. So, and that's where the
Very
the
traditional in nature.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's smooth. It's still a smooth contemporary jazz cut,
Mm-hmm.
but it's got some of the older elements.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I just hope it comes across and people can really embrace what I'm trying to say from a family standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last song was Shelter Island.
Oh, I love that.
One of my favorite cities in the country is San Diego.
Okay.
So when I hang in San Diego, where do I go? Shelter Island.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was produced by Darryl Williams,
Mm-hmm.
bass player, phenomenal bass player, producer, and he's kind of traveled the world with some of the greats like Jonathan Butler,
Right.
Groove, all those guys. But he's always been a great producer.
Mm-hmm.
He's produced one song from my 2020 album.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Feeling You, but I reached out to him again. I said, I want another vibe from him. So we kind of collaborated on that.
Mm-hmm.
And Shelter Island really fits the mold.
I love the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was excited about just anticipating listening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, did you want to say anything else before I?
No, I think that kind of sums up the album.
Well, would you? Okay, so one quick question. On your Tighten Up,
Mhm.
you talked a little bit about. Well, we talked a little bit about how to do anything in life, we got to tighten it up first.
Right.
We got to get things right. Okay. So on your CD jacket, you have an image of a rope and a compass. Why?
Because, of course, the rope signifies the physical part of tightening up.
Mm-hmm.
The compass also is more of a timepiece. You don't have too much time to waste.
Right.
Stop wasting time. Let's get it together. Get it together now.
Okay. So did you select those images?
did.
You did?
I did.
So how did that come about? I mean, did you just like you were sitting there thinking and you just brainstorming, and how did you come up with that?
Well, in collaboration with the graphic artist Sabrina Taylor, she put the pieces together.
Mm-hmm.
But those two pieces they're different,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of commonality to
There is.
it. Right.
There really, really is.
And no rhyme or reason. It's just I saw it. Oh, you know what? Put it together. And the more I looked at it, I said, there's a lot of commonality there.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm trying to say.
Okay. Well, I want to say to our studio audience that I have a surprise for you, a real treat here. I've never done this before, but Wednesday night, I listened to Dee's music, the album 20, and then I reviewed his CD. So what I have right here, and Dee has not seen this yet. This will be the first time that he has laid eyes on this CD review. I'm going to share a copy with him.
Okay.
And I'm going to read it to you all. It's just one page. It's not, 2 pages or anything really long to listen to. But before I read it, I want to say that we talked, I know I mentioned in the beginning about why I like to spend time supporting my students with their music endeavors. And one of those reasons is because music is so much like literature. It's personal and shared from the human condition. So there's so much there. Music is us. Okay, it's what we do. It's our culture. And I think about smooth jazz and how much we like to go on smooth jazz cruises, and we love to vacation. We love to go on trips, and we love to take cruises. We love to take voyages and trips, and we just like to get out there and have a good time. So with that said, I want you all to keep that in mind as I read this CD review of 20. All right, Unreleased 20 album, September 2024, Dee Lucas. CD review by Sheila Ross. All right. This outbound voyage toward the mystical islands of Cuba first induces us to tighten up. In preparation for the journey, as National Billboard charting recording artist, saxophonist, and composer Dee Lucas provides the line and the compass to start us on this Caribbean trip. Musically inspired by George Howard, Grover Washington Jr., and Miles Davis, Lucas gives us Tighten Up, produced by West Coast guitarist Adam Hawley, Caleb Middleton, and Lucas himself. This crew all provide the initial lifeline for this travel, with Lucas on soprano saxophone, Hawley on keys and guitar, Mel Brown on bass, Eric Valentine on drums, and Caleb Middleton is on keys. This trek is now in sail. Bound for Cayo Santa Maria for your Cuban cigar nights. This smooth Latin vibe, Cuban Cigar Nights, invokes not only the Cuban culture to the ear, additionally, it balances out just the right mix of saxophone, keys, drums, guitar, and bass. With thanks to how you say his name, Luigi? Leogino
Rosaria.
I tried to practice that. Okay. Lucas, Dee Lucas, Jordan Love, Eric Lampley, and Tony Lewis. In deep waters, this voyage continues towards the mystical land of Shelter Island. With its magical yet mysterious, repetitive tones, here West Coast bassist Daryl Williams teams up with Lucas on soprano sax and Gordon Campbell on drums to soothe the soul. Ultimately, it is Williams that mixes and produces this masterwork. Amid this melodious journey, a weak spot is discovered, and vocalist Kevin Benton confesses to the flaw. Oh, but Bennett's sweet, smooth sound, accompanied by Lucas on soprano sax, cancels out the weakness. This is super nice, thanks to Melvin, Melly, Baldwin, Kevin, Todd, Kipper, Jones, and Orlando Lucas. And for this one, a special thank you goes out to Theodore. I'm going to let you pronounce his last name for me. Casitas, yes. He plays guitar. Mm-hmm. Finally, this voyage culminates back to land with a celebration of 20 years. Yes, 20 years of professional play for Dee Lucas as he collaborates with producer Michael Bronin, Mel Brown on bass, and Freddie Fox on guitar. Here on deck, we have Lucas on both tenor and soprano sax. All together, this crew develops this intense yet spirited masterpiece, 20. Smooth jazz lovers, do not miss this voyage. Do not allow this ship to sail without you. With Lucas and friends, you are always sailing to far, far away places.
You did your homework. You did your homework.
What you think?
It's well written.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's what you
well
do,
written
right?
in terms of
That's what you do, right? But you put the right words in the right place for the right songs.
okay, let me tell our studio audience something real quick. When I review a CD, I listen to the whole thing, every track. I created my own template or my own matrix for reviewing a CD. Without giving a whole lot away, I just want to say that I take a lot of notes when I review a CD. I listen to the song and I listen for what I'm hearing, and I take notes on that. And then I pick the songs that I really like. And because you can't speak to every single song that's on the CD, you'd be writing for days.
Right.
So what makes for a good review is when you select the songs that you really like. You can connect with those songs, you like the songs, and then you can, the writing part is much easier. So I found commonality. That's why I was asking you in the beginning about where the inspiration came from for the titles.
Right.
Are there any common themes or topics in this CD? Because I felt like with Tighten Up, I believe we were together on that.
Right.
And I chose, even though it's not the first cut on the album, I chose, just like you said, I chose to put it at the top because with anything in life that we need to do, we have to tighten up first. That's why I talked about it first.
Right.
Okay. And then I went to, where'd I go from there? I went to Cuban
Cigar Nights.
Cuban Cigar Nights. So with Smooth Jazz lovers, we love to travel. We love to go on cruises.
Right.
And that's that social scene that we all enjoy. And we talked about that.
Absolutely.
Right? All right. From there, we went to Shelter Island. I love that title because it can be so many different, like, it has a mysteriousness to it, and it can be so many different things. But anyway, go ahead.
Well, one thing you said that you put in your review, the mysterious repetitive tones, it relates to the hook because the hook was played over and over again. It's like I hammered that hook on that song.
I heard those repetitive. I heard that. And I started to call you on the phone and ask you, what's up with this one song?
Yep.
Yeah, because I heard it.
I wanted, sometimes some of the best songs are very simplistic, but anyone would tell you a song is remembered by its hook.
Okay.
And that's where I wanted to bring this song
So
home.
when you say hook, let's make sure.
The chorus.
Okay.
The part that most people sing.
Okay.
It's that.
So it's if we were writing something out, it would be repetition,
yes,
right?
Yeah, it's the part that most people sing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I get it. And I heard it and I was like, am I hearing this right?
Yeah, because if you hear the song enough, if you hear it over and over again, it's going to be that one part of that song that people will walk away humming to themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you felt the best choice or the best way to develop this particular track was to use that repetition.
Yeah, to basically focus on the chorus part.
Okay.
On the hook.
All right.
Yep.
I have to get used to that word hook because when I think of hook, I think of something else.
Yeah, and basically it's a radio song. I mean, it's a song that I presented to the radio promoter.
Right.
And, after he said 20 is going to be your next release, Shelter Island is going to be the next one that we put out in February.
Okay.
So I kind of lucked up on that one.
Okay.
So
good job. Now I want to talk about Weak Spot because who is Michael? Is it Michael Bennett?
Kevin Bennett.
I'm sorry.
Let me give you a quick story on that song.
Who is Kevin Bennett? Tell us about him.
I'm glad you asked. So I'm going to tell you a little story about this song. So the song was produced by Melvin Melly Baldwin. Melly Baldwin was my fraternity brother in college. We were classmates. And this was before I even picked up a saxophone. But we would come and had common relationship as fraternity brothers in college, but he was a musician at the time. Melvin is one of the few that influenced me to start playing music.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fast forward, and I said, you know what, Melvin, one day we're going to play together. And here we are after all these years.
Right.
And he had a song that he wanted to, trying to shop.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard it. And he said, nobody wants it. I said, I was listening to it and I heard the scratch vocals on there. What I mean by scratch vocals, someone just went in the studio and just laid some vocals down for the song as a reference. So I said, you know what? Nobody wants the song, huh? I'll take it. So I listened to the vocals. I said, it's two people that I would like to go after and produce this. It was O'Brien, Joe.
Oh.
Those two guys could pull it off because of the tonality of the vocal, the voicing of it. I could not get in contact with Joe, but I did get in contact with O'Brien. He actually recorded it, and he sent it back, and he told me, D, I did okay, but honestly, I didn't feel comfortable with recording it because the guy who laid the scratch vocals down, he was perfect. I said, what? He said, I can't really do anything to this song. It was perfect.
Like it was. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I really listened to it, and I said, you know what? He does sound good.
Mm-hmm.
So I called Melly, and I told him, O'Brien does not feel comfortable with recording the song. I want to go with this guy here. Tell me about this guy, Kevin Bennett. Oh, he goes to church with me. And he came over to the house and just recorded it one time. I said, what? He recorded it one take? He said, yeah. Okay. Can he do it again? No problem. So he's going to have to record it in because there were some lyric parts that he had to redo.
Mm-hmm.
He came back and did it in one take again, and I heard the song 2 times better. I said, this is the guy right here. This is the guy right here. But long story short, it turned out to be a great song. I really like it. It's a song that I needed on my album because I wanted to start casting a wider net musically. Mm-hmm. Not so much just smooth jazz, but I want to cast a wider net R&B to grab a bigger audience.
There you go.
So, and what we're going to do with this song here, since we're going to release 20 as a smooth jazz release, we're going to take this song and we're going to release it over in the UK for R&B.
Okay.
Because for some reason over in the UK, they tend to gravitate to more soul music.
All right.
Soul and R&B and less smooth jazz. So we're going to market that song the same time we market the 20 single. Let's see where it goes.
Good idea. So Kevin Bennett, is he local here?
Kevin Bennett's local.
Okay. Wow.
It's amazing. And it's a testament. You never know the talent that's been hidden around here. It's a lot of talent here.
I just want our studio audience to know he's a vocalist. And so I listened to this song. It's called Weak Spot. And I just fell right in love with it. I was texting Dee and like, oh my God, I love this song. So, it's going to be a hit. I can tell.
And I've already tested it to a lot of radio curators. I say, yeah, this is a go.
Oh, good. Yeah, so you can do that. You can like sample it, tell them to sample it.
Certain ones that you have a relationship with, they'll, take it offline and listen to it, I think this will go.
Nice. Very nice.
And I really wanted O'Brien to do the song because as an artist, I like to reach back to artists that haven't
helped you.
That have not been out in a while. I kind of like want to get them back out in the, the industry again. I even reached out to Jaheim, but O'Brien and Joe were the guys that I felt could have pulled this song off. And I think O'Brien did a great job, but O'Brien comes from that. He comes from that regime. If it's not his own, he's not as comfortable with doing someone else's music. So he didn't feel as comfortable as interpreting what was already interpreted. And I respected that. So I'm gonna circle back around to O'Brien because I really love his voice. He still can sing.
Right.
So
and it'll come.
It will. Timing is everything.
Very nice. Wow, that's exciting. I think that brings us to your title track 20. Let's see here. What were we trying to? Let's see here. 20. Let's see. I wrote, finally, this voyage culminates back to land with a celebration of 20 years. Yes, 20 years of professional play for Dee Lucas as he collaborates with producer Michael Bronin, Mel Brown, Freddie Fox. So those were I think those were the three main for your, did I miss anybody on 20?
No. Do you know who Freddie Fox is?
Not really.
Freddie Fox is the husband of Evelyn Champagne.
Oh, that's right. You did tell me that. I'm sorry. Yeah, you sure did.
It's a great song. Let me tell you something about Michael Bronin. Michael Bronin is one of those hidden producers that's bubbling below the surface. He's about to blow up. Even though he has 20 plus number one hit songs between artists and producer for other artists, I still feel that his name is still not out there yet.
Okay.
But it's just a matter of time. But I missed a couple of songs on Michael Bronin about 3 or 4 years ago. And the way it works, when you reach out to producers, I like this song right here. If you don't already have a song you want to collaborate with, they may have some in their catalog can. I like this song right here. Let me just check it out. So he had a song 2 years ago. I said, I want this one right here. So he sent it to me, and he gave me the price on it. And I was struggling with the payments on it. Didn't pay it on time. And Michael Bronin he's hired with Tripping the Rhythm Records. And it got snatched up by a good friend of mine, Lynn Roundtree.
Oh.
That song went number one. So I'm grabbing myself. I missed it. Had another one. I want this song. Put it in my Dropbox. I struggle with the payments. He let it go to a guy named Quentin Gerard.
Wow.
The name of the song's called Broken Promises. It went number one. I said, you know what? This next song,
right?
I'm putting some money down on it. So
right.
I put some money down on it, and I paid it off, and this is 20.
Wow.
And I hope it goes number one.
It will. It's going to. Wow. Look at there.
But you know what? I'm happy that it went where it went because it may not have been for me. I mean, it may not have been for me.
True.
It was for them.
Right.
I mean, what's for you will be for you.
It will be for you.
Yeah. So I'm okay with it. I mean, I feel real good about this song. I even sent it to the radio promoter. He said, this is one of your best songs, if not the best. And Full Tilt is one of the best songs that you put out, charting-wise and reception-wise. And he spoke highly about 20. I said, okay, let's go.
Oh, I'm glad for you. Wow. Well, Dee, we're going to pivot just a little bit because we will be finishing up fairly soon here because I don't want to keep you too long. Your history is very unique. Oh, your Vegas show. Did you want to talk about that last before we finish up, or did you want to talk about that now?
No, we can talk about it now.
Okay. Tell the studio audience about your Vegas show coming up.
October 26th. Having a birthday hang / album celebration. Basically, every year, I always have a birthday hang. And it's always been in Denver. Why Denver? Denver is one of those fan bases that's been always good to me. But this year, I think the venue went through some troubles and the venue is no more. So I decided to move it to Vegas. So this is where we are. And it's going to be hosted by Becky Taylor. Becky Taylor is a well-known
promoter.
Smooth jazz hostess.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm going to bring in a lot of my great friends such as Will Donato.
Oh, wow.
Marquel Jordan.
Okay.
Saxophonist from Brian Culbertson from back in the day. Rashawn Odell.
Oh, I know who he is.
You know Rashawn. Yep.
That's Mr. Buffalo.
Yes. PJ Spraggins. Gino Rosario. We're going to have a great time.
It sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah. And see, the thing about it, even though it's a birthday hang, it's really not about me and my birthday. I always try to put it around my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically about showcasing music.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone that I just mentioned, they have music. And I wanted to put that out there for the people to check out and hopefully take home.
Right.
But it's all about trying to help your peers. As indie artists, it's already tough enough to try to have some type of mainstay in this industry. It's really tough.
Mm-hmm.
So as an indie artist, we have to work together. We have to showcase each other. So, and that's what the birthday hang is really about.
Well, tell our studio audience how they can kind of get the information for this, to sign up for this trip, for the travel and the.
Oh yeah, basically, you can go to my website at dlucas.com. It tells you everything about the ticket information, hotel,
Mm-hmm.
and all that. So it's going to be at the Copa Room.
Okay.
At the Bootleggers in Las Vegas. But everything is on the website at dlucas.com.
Very good. Very good. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We have one more topic to talk to Mr. Lucas about this evening, if you all can hang in there with us. We want to talk a little bit about your history, because you have a bit of a non-traditional start with your professional play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of artists that I have interviewed, they started as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
and their parents forced them get in there and play that saxophone, as a child.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't you.
No.
So can you tell us how did you do this as an adult?
So growing up in a small town,
Mm-hmm.
my parents gave me an option because, time, economics, or what have you. So they told me to pick.
Pick.
Either band or sports. And coming from a small town, most times the communities of small towns, they tend to rally behind sports.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up, I played all three: basketball, baseball, football. Okay. I always wanted to play an instrument.
Mm-hmm.
But I stayed with sports. College.
And this was, what town were you raised up in?
In Alabama, a small town called Tanner. It's between
Tanner?
Between Huntsville and Birmingham. Real small.
Oh.
You miss the light, you out.
If you blink, you miss it.
You out. It's out of there. But anyways, good people. Very talented people, I may add, from that area. Musically inclined.
Mm-hmm.
But went through high school, went through college, pursued a degree, graduated from college. Then I moved to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
That is when I pursued music. I picked up a 9-to-5 to complement, my degree from graduating and stuff. And I will work during the day,
Mm-hmm.
hang out in the clubs at night, and just go to the live jazz clubs. And that's what inspired me.
There's your inspiration.
That was my inspiration.
Okay.
Going out to some of these clubs, listening to some of these cats.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know what? I want to play. So after breaking up with my college girlfriend after 7 years, I had downtime. So I bought me a saxophone, and I started teaching myself.
So you just went to the store and bought a saxophone?
I bought a saxophone, and I started teaching myself. Then I had some friends among the musician community in Atlanta. We would kind of shed a little bit, hands-on type of thing. But basically, it was all ear training. And eventually, over a period of time, I invested in myself. That's the good thing about working, having a day job. You can take your money and put it back in your business.
Exactly.
So I self-taught myself. I got some lessons here and there. Even went to Berkeley for a saxophone workshop. But most of my gift came from within, ear training, listening to a lot of guys in the music community, and just having that hunger to do it, but also make it your formal education. Even though it wasn't coming from a formal institution, I made it a formal education where, I'm teaching myself, but I'm teaching it as if someone was teaching me. So I went and got the books. I got the books to learn how to read, got the books to learn how to write. And I also started playing as internship.
Wow.
So after 2 or 3 years, which is still fast track, I was able to get with this band based in Atlanta. It's a band called Between 9 and 7. And the band leader, he was my fraternity brother, lived right in the neighborhood. Did not know he was there until I, just saw him up and down the street. And we had history. And he had a band, so he invited me in his band. And what it did, it gave me an opportunity to give the the horn section.
Right.
So it wasn't no pressure that I was out front. I was in a horn section. So what it allowed me to do was get comfortable for live performances.
Oh, good.
But it also taught me the business side of the band or the entertainment business. So that's how that came about. And time passed. I think we did that for 3 years, and that's when I struck out on my own. And I created a band called Expressions. It was a trio. Did that about 3 or 4 years. I think we started at Millennial Night, December 31st, 1999 is when I started that band. Recorded an album. It was a regional release. And then 2004, that's when I decided Remembrance. The significance behind that record is a tribute to George Howard, the late, great George Howard. And why did I do that? As a self-taught musician, which you think, that's crazy. Why would you, as a self-taught saxophonist, put out something as a tribute? Because that's something that most seasoned artists would do. I did it because when George passed away in 98, between 98 and 2004, I didn't see a lot of tributes from someone who gave so much to music.
Oh.
I didn't see any radio stations playing his music after he had passed away. So I felt that there was a certain level of disrespect right there. So I paid homage to him.
And he's one of your inspirations.
Yeah, he's one of my inspirations.
Right.
George Howard, Grover Washington, David Sanborn, and Miles Davis. Guys that had something to say. Yeah. So that's how I got started musically. It's been 20 plus years overall, but 20 years as a recording artist. It seems like yesterday, but I have covered a lot of ground.
Right.
A lot of ground. A lot of dues has been paid, but you still pay dues. You don't ever stop paying dues. It just comes in different forms and different phases. So I'm just looking forward to moving forward.
I think that's what fascinates me so much about you is you're so consistent and hardworking. Because you got that stigma attached to you, hardworking and consistent.
Yeah, I think I got a lot of that from my parents because they worked. They had work ethics. But also I worked a corporate job, so I was able to develop a sense of structure, organization. And then I let the day job go in 2014, and that's when I went full bird entrepreneurship, developing my own record label to catalog my own music, because I've always wanted to not only just be an artist, but I've always wanted to own something. And I think part of success is ownership.
Right.
And I've seen and heard too many horror stories of artists, successful artists, passing away broke. And I said, no.
Right.
I want to learn from those that came before me.
Okay.
And I want to pass it on to people that's behind me.
Right. That's the way it should be structured.
Right. So that's where I am with this music. It's not about trying to get on radio or trying to get charted. That's going to come with time. It comes in its own form. But my thing is to deliver the music to the people for healing, because a lot of people out there are hurting, and music can really tear down those kind of barriers.
Right. It soothes the soul. Well, Dee, we are just about ready to finish it up with you. I am just so excited about all of this. How do you, at this point, how do you define yourself, and where do you go from here?
Work in progress. I define myself as work in progress. It's a tough business, but it's a rewarding business. It's something I don't take for granted, because the way I was gifted and birthed into the music, I still feel like I have a lot of upper room, more room to grow. I've accomplished a lot, but I still feel like there's so much upsize.
Oh, yes.
That I still have not tapped a lot of audiences. And with the likes of, when you have platforms like Watercolors on Sirius XM, that's instant fan base. Or when you travel over to the UK That's a fan base you don't see every day.
Exactly.
So when you travel and then when you have your records that's being streamed or played worldwide, now you're growing your fan base. And that's just where I am with it right now. I want to continue to grow my fan base, put the music out there and see where it goes. But I don't want to be pigeonholed into one particular style of music. I mean, smooth jazz, contemporary jazz, whatever you want to call it, I call it just music. But I always want to cast a wider net, and hopefully that the music can reach back and touch those behind me. So that's where I am with that.
Very good. Well, I want to say to our studio audience, we didn't mean to keep you this long, but if you have any questions for myself or Mr. Lucas, you can go to my website and use the contact us. My website address is smoothwix.org, and you should be able to pull it up there. I'll repeat that, smoothwix.org. Mr. Lucas and myself are on Facebook. I am Sheila E. Ross on Facebook, and I also have a business page, Sheila Ross. And Dee, I'll let you tell them your Facebook Roadrunner fan club.
No. Okay. With the Facebook music page, it's Dee Lucas Sax.
Okay.
DeeLucas SAX.
All right, and that's good enough for.
That's it.
That's the place where they need to go. That's your website.
No, that's the Facebook.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
DeeLucas SAX. That's the handle for Facebook.
Okay.
Social media. But if they want to go to my website, they go to deelucas.com. DeeLucas.com.
Very nice. Okay. Well, in closing, I just want to thank you for your time. And I don't know that I can ever thank you for 20 years.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
But I learned so much because I was going to ask you what I felt like were little dumb questions, like how do you name a song? And now I know that y'all are sharing with one another.
Yeah.
It's not so much collaborating and sharing the music. It's also the product is out there, and it's, you don't have to go to the store and buy it, but you have that relationship with those other artists, and you can swap.
Well, today's technology has really brought us that much more together. Years ago, you had to fly to a studio. You don't have to do that anymore.
Right.
You can just file share now. And if you got a decent studio, you can put out some good music. And so the times have changed, and you have to change with it.
Okay. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't. Just want to say thanks for having me. It's an honor, and I wish you well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I hope the studio audience has liked what they heard today. I hope you will join us on our episode 2. We promise to bring you an episode once per month, and for right now. And if you have any questions or ideas, don't hesitate to go to my website, smoothwix.org, or you can send me a message on Facebook. All right, Mr. Lucas. Thank you so very much.
All right.
See you soon.